Miss Brown. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking.
You're welcome. So thanks for contacting me about Jess's scores.
Oh, thank you for taking the time to meet with me about her scores.
Of course, of course. Okay, so let's get into this. This is the Scholastic Test of Achievement. So it is an AIQ test. It does measure her what she learned throughout the semester. So let's go into this. So the test is given once a year, and she took it 2 months ago in January. So as a reminder, this test is just like a snapshot of what she learned. It just tells us a little bit, how she's learning and how she's getting the material. So during this meeting, I'm going to reference some of her work in her portfolio and some of my observations in her academics. So here's a sheet. You can just take notes. It just gives over some of the terms. Okay, so please feel free to, follow along with the handout, make any notes about Jess's test scores.
Okay, I also had a question. Were all these tests taken in one day?
That's a good question. No, these were taken over the course of 4 days. So for each day, they took a test.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so this section right here is going to be describing Jess's scores over the norm reference results.
Okay, what are norm reference results?
The norm reference score is like a national set of scores taken from 8,000 third graders who took the same test under the same set of circumstances. So it's used to compare Jess's scores and place them in percentiles. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So the first column lists the number of items on each test. The next column is going to list the raw score. And the third is going to list, it's going to show the national percentiles, which is where Jess placed within the norm group.
Okay.
So let's look at the total reading. So for the total reading, she scored in the 53rd percentile in the subject of reading. So she was tested on vocabulary and word analysis. So in vocabulary, she scored in the 49th percentile, and in word analysis, she scored in the 47th percentile.
Oh, okay. What does this mean? Is this a low score or?
Percentiles aren't scored like percentages. So percentiles are broken down into groups. So the percentile shows that Jess scored better than 53% of the students who took the same test.
Oh, okay.
So let's see here. So right in this area is going to be the area where she wants to be. So she scored in the 53rd. So right here, the CEM is going to stand for the standard error measurement. So it's going to be the plus or minus 4. So meaning the range of scores would be like 49 to 57 for the 53rd percentile for the total reading. So this leaves room for any errors like for test question wording, if the student guessed or if they were tired or anything.
Oh, okay. Did she look tired on the test?
Let me look at my observations. So from her observations, I don't see that she was tired. She looked pretty well rested.
Oh, okay, that's good because I know she got a good night's rest that night before.
Yeah, I could tell. Let's see right here. Okay, so for the total mathematics, she did score within the 48th percentile. She scored better than 48% of the other students in the norm group who took the test. So it's going to be right here.
Okay.
So for the total mathematics score, Jess scored within the 48th percentile. So she scored better than 48% of the other students who took the test in the norm group. So for the band of standard error, she placed 44 between 52. So she placed within the middle of the score group.
Oh, okay. Is this also good scoring?
Yeah, she did a little bit below average, but she's still within the average, so it's still a good area to be in. So let's look at her portfolio. So I did see she's having a little bit of trouble with problem solving. So she did score a little bit below average. Let's see some of her work. She's having a little bit of difficulty with problem solving concepts. However, she has improved a lot from her previous assignments. So something you do at home is make up word problems while driving in the car or hanging out in the kitchen. So for example, if you have 1 cup of water and the recipe calls for 12, how many more cups are needed? So something like that. So Jess was tested on math concepts, problem solving, and procedures. So she scored in the 52nd percentile for math concepts, 39th percentile in problem solving, and 44th in procedures.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. But I noticed a section here that says basic battery and complete battery. What do those mean?
Okay, yeah, the basic battery is going to include an overall score of reading, math, and spelling. So it's not going to include science or the social studies. So the scaled scores are ranked from 200 to 800, 500 being the average. So you see she did score a 491, so it's a little bit below average, but it's still a good spot to be in. So there's always room for improvement. So for the complete battery, it's going to include reading, math, spelling, science, and social studies. So in regards to that, she scored a 488. So it is a little bit below, but still a good spot to be in. So yeah.
Oh, okay. And I also noticed a section here that says the scaled score. So what exactly is that?
Okay, so to get the scaled score, you need to change the raw score into the same unit of measurement as the scaled score. So another way to think about it is if you have a measurement in feet, a measurement of yards, in order to compare them, you need the same unit of measurement. So that's what they do for this. They get the raw score and they standardize it to get the scaled score. So this score just helps keep the consistency of the scores reported for the test.
Oh, okay. So I noticed the scaled score for total reading is a 508. Is this a good score?
Yeah, so let's look at the bell sheet. So the average is 500 and she did score a 508. So it's a little bit above average, so that's a really good score for her.
Okay. And also, what about the score that she received in total mathematics? It's a 496. What is that?
Okay, so for the 496, it's a little bit below average, but she's still in a good area for that section.
Oh, okay.
So this part right here, the bottom part's going to be the criterion reference results for Jess's test. So this gives information on how she performed on specific standards and objectives.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be no norm reference group reference for this section. So if you want to look over it, see if you have any questions over any subtests or subcategories you don't understand.
No, not yet.
Okay. So the first category right here is going to be the raw score. So it's the total number of questions she got correct. Next is going to be the NP, which stands for the number of questions possible. And these sections right here are going to be the low, medium, and high. So these sections were the cutoff points, and they were determined by experts before the test was taken.
Oh, okay. I did have a question on phonetic analysis vowels. What is that, and what does the score mean?
Okay, so like for example, if you think of raw or caught, you notice the words are spelled differently but make the same sound. So the A, W, and the AU is the phonetic analysis aspect. So she scored in the medium range. So let's look at the portfolio. So Jess is doing pretty well with identifying most words on a given list, but there are a few with the OI and OY that she's having a little difficulty with. However, she scored fairly high. So she did score high in the structure analysis. As you can see, she got a 10 out of 10.
Okay, that's good to hear, but I noticed down here that she scored low in measurement.
Yeah, I don't agree with that part because there were only 8 questions for that section, and if you had missed one, she would have been put right in the medium part. So, as I can see from the portfolio, she does understand measurement, but there is a little bit of parts where she does need more confirmation on that subject.
Oh, okay.
So let's see right here. She did score pretty good. So Jess scored high in the area of life science. So according to my notes, she did do very well in many different topics in science. So here's a sample food chain she completed over the wildlife in the rainforest.
Oh wow, this looks great. I know whenever we go to the park, she does gravitate a lot to the plants and animals that are around.
So overall, Jess is doing pretty great. Some of the methods we'll be using in class are small study groups for language arts and math. So in the study groups, the students will be quizzing each other, playing a variety of games, just discussing what they've learned or compare their ideas. So here is a list of websites that we'll be referencing for the class regarding math. So at home, you can try measuring various objects, indoor and outdoors. Here's also another handout to create an anchor chart for words. So you can work on this together for spelling and those special phonetic words.
Wow, these resources look great. I can't wait to use them with Jess.
Oh, I'm glad. Okay, so thank you again for taking the time to plan and review your child's scores. It was a pleasure collaborating with you for the game plan for her learning. So if you have any further questions in the future, please feel free to call or contact me in any way.
All right, thank you.